Hello out there, you're welcome to the newspaper review here on TAF TV, where you get to see and hear the reactions of Nigerians regarding headlines that are making rounds on our newspaper. Okeme is my name, and before we hit to the street like we always do, let's first look into the headlines and see what the headline has for us today. Today being 19th of July 2024, first we're considering the Punch, and the bold headline here says, minimum wage, National Assembly gets bill Tuesday as Tinubu Labour agrees on 70,000. I must say big congratulations. Finally, this story has finally come to an end. And the final resolution is 70,000 for minimum wage. You can read that up on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Now, sub-story under here reads, crude supply, federal government continues fuel importation as reps probes IOCS. Details of that is found on page 19. Reps pleads guilty against anti-government protests, accepts 50% salary cut. Details of that is found on page 12. CBN resumes BDC dollar sales. Naira weakens to 1,570 naira per dollar. You can read that up on page 27 of the Punch newspaper. Another interesting story here says, APC knocks PDP governors. Military mobilized against mass protests. Details of that is found on page 13. Moving on, we're seeing 25 human trafficking victims rescued. Suspect arrested in Delta. Details of that is found on page 4 and page 5. Tantita intercepts speedboats with stolen diesels. You can read that up on page 12 of the Punch newspaper. Alright, lastly for today, we're considering the nations. And the bold headline here says, federal government, labor, organized private sectors, okay 70,000 as minimum wage. Quite an interesting story here on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Sub-story under the Nation on page 6 says, tertiary school admission age, page at 18 from next year. Details of that is found, like I said, on page 6. Reps donate 1.8 billion naira to buy food for Nigerians. Quite an interesting story here, still on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Gunmen adopt 11 students, passengers in Enugu. Is found on page 7. How to fire patriotic zeal in Nigerians by Uzodinma. Details of that is found on page 5. Moving on, we're seeing Senate holds debate on South-South Development Commission bill. Details of that is found on page 5. Alright, moving on, we're seeing CBN resumes forex sales to BDCs. Details of that is found on page 4. O2 unveils committee for Wega's burial. Is found on page 8. Fake lawyers remanded in Abia. Details of that is also found on page 7 of the Nation newspaper. Alright, that was all we have for you regarding the headlines that are making round this morning. Let's hit to the street and hear the reactions of Nigerians regarding these headlines. Do well to stay tuned. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's good to have you.
Yeah, very, very good.
All right, thank you very much. Quickly on the Punch, it says minimum wage. National Assembly to get bill Tuesday as Tinubu Labour finally agrees on 70,000. Finally, there's should I say, a final benchmark to this. What's your take on it?
Exactly, it's a good thing to hear that they've come to a conclusion and looking how the economy is and looking how the past amount used to be around 30,000 naira. You will see that there is a huge improvement, but we know that this is not what we Nigerians want. Yes, we expected more. We're expecting like maybe 100,000, 110,000, so that when you want to make expenses, it will still help you out to make expenses and you still have a little saving. If we check this 70,000 naira, the last time I checked, cannot get you a bag of rice. Obviously. Exactly. And one thing the federal government does not know is if you don't pay your staffs well, if you don't pay these people well, they will look for measures to cheat people, to embezzle funds. The 70,000 is a good start if they have any hope of proposing a higher amount in times to come. And that's if the Labour Congress do not relent. You know, they have the opinion that once the federal government makes any decision, it stands for a very long time. We know how many years that the 30,000 naira stand.
And now they say they will resume it after 3 years.
Exactly. And now we don't know if it will stay beyond that 3 years. and 3 years time from now would be another election. We don't know if the president would win the second tenure or be removed in office, knowing how things have gone very wrong in our economy this moment. So I would say it's a very good one to hear that they've increased this minimum wage, but it is still not enough for Nigerians. It is still not enough. If I am spending almost 200,000 naira a month to fend for my family, to fend for my transport, to fend for my health, medical bills, and then you increase it, so that is to say I will still be spending around 150,000 naira for these same expenses. So we are still very far from what we normally spend and what we normally earn. Even from this 70,000 naira, nobody would come out, no civil servant will come out and say that after all the expenses with 70,000 naira that they will have savings. What's the essence of working when you'll be running into huge debt? And then if you are proposing this 70,000 naira, you are solving 1% of the numerous problems in the country. There's still the problem of transportation, there's still the problem of insecurity, there's still the problem of high cost of living, there's still the problem of feeding, and there's still the problem of high price. You could see petrol was around 7 something, now some persons are selling as high as 900, 1,000 naira. So if these prices of petrol transportation is increasing and you are increasing minimum wage, that is this person will still be channeling their money to transportation and all other issues. So you see.
So at this point now, some persons have the opinion that private sectors will be more better because you know they are yet to actually give us a clear details based on the private sector. Some persons are saying, okay, it will be better to work for a private sector than work for the government. Do you think it's okay to place it that way?
Okay, on a general look, the NLC stands for mostly the government sector, while the organized private sectors, those ones are more like a snitch. I would call them a snitch on the Labour Congress Union in general. How many times have the Labour Congress come out to propose amounts for wages for staffs, and they would draw themselves back? They would not want to include themselves. They would not want to be financially inclusive in these plans. There are some private sectors that pay their staffs as low as 20,000 naira. So how sure are we that they would even propose a higher amount? Exactly.
They actually agreed on 62,000 as when they wanted 250.
And you know that most of these private sectors are one of the reasons why Nigerians believe that your employers are not your friend, because they are not doing anything worthy for you to earn enough. Especially when you have the manpower, you have the education, you have the experience also. They will still want to look for a way to maneuver it. You work higher and you earn lower. So there's a slim chance for the organized private sector to bring up adopt the same amount or adopt higher.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Now, quickly, you know, there have been a planned protest in our dearest nation, Nigeria. Some persons have been planning a lot of protests, and a particular headline says, "Rep splits against anti-government protests, accepts 50% salary cut." Now, you know, Nigerians have been eager to protest based on the hunger issue, and now our Senate persons are saying, okay, they will take a 50% cut on their part. What's your take?
Okay, the senators, that is a very good one from their angle. But we know that these senators are not the only people that are eating the government's money. They are the other arms of the government. Like, we could see what is happening in Kenya. We could see that these persons were pushed to their elasticity limit. They've reached where they could not bear it any longer, and they hit to the street. And they didn't just hit to the street. They did what? You see what happened in N70, maybe times 10 of that. They went as far as destroying every properties that is owned by these government parastatals. On Twitter, I saw where a Kenyan person was tweeting about this thing. I was saying that they would do more if their government does not come to revert most of these their plans. And then a Nigerian now came and said that all these rough protest is not good, that is peaceful protest. The next thing the person replied was, the Kenyan replied that you think we Kenyans are like you weaklings Nigerians. What an insult to us, knowing that our elasticity limit is very, very high. So the Senate is saying that they have cut down their expenses to 50,000 naira. What exactly are they cutting? To 50%. Are they saying that they are cutting only their incomes? What about those corner-side funds that are coming? What about the transport allowance? What about the feeding allowance? What about the wardrobe allowance and all other allowances? Now, even if they are saying they want to reduce this amount, what about other sectors? At least Kenyan president came out to say, okay, he's cutting out the position of the first lady, and all other positions that are very important and we know that would consume a whole lot of money yearly. If only the Senate is coming to say, okay, they are cutting down this amount. What about other commissioners? What about the president? What about the first lady? Because the first lady is a non-vacant position, is a non-active position, it's a position that is not known constitutionally.
It's just for the name.
Yes, but you could see the president's first lady is earning well, the governor's first lady are earning well, the local government first ladies too are earning well. So these are the issues. The Senate cannot only say they want to cut this thing down. If they cut it down or they do not cut it down, for the fact that our economy does not improve, the protest might still come out. Although we are seeing some persons they're alleging that it's from the APC faction that they are coming to counter protest the planned protest, that okay, they are okay with the economy, they are okay with government. You will not blame these persons. They are one way or the other benefiting penny from the government. You know, when you are very hungry and you receive a penny, you will feel like they are doing you good, not knowing that they've deprived you of your basic amenities that you are supposed to earn without going through stress. So that is just the Senate is just, they are just 1% of the problem. They are not even going into the problem fully. Talk about the challenges that we are facing. Talk about ways to resolve these issues. If the economy is good of a true, we Nigerians, if the economy is good, even if the Senate are embezzling funds, we would not even look into that direction. We could see during the Obasanjo's regime, we could see the many politics that they played in embezzlement of funds, but nobody looked into that direction. Obasanjo did Operation Feed the Nation. He brought about using telecommunication in the country. Even when the MTN network was paying him, I think 1% for every recharge card you recharge to your phone. Many persons were not bothered because the economy was good at that time. We were earning well. So that is just the thing. If you not tackle the problem from the root level, then you are trying to reduce money that you earn on a monthly basis without tackling the root level. The problem will still linger and people will still come out and say they are aggrieved about this issue. That is just it.
Right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've come to the end of our newspaper review here on TAF TV. You have been opportune to hear what Nigerians got to say. Remember, like I always say, you also can be part of the show. We are not doing this alone. Do well to follow us up on all our social media handles. Subscribe so that you get notified each time we drop videos just like what we have shared with you today. My name is Okeme, and this has been the newspaper review here on TAF TV. Do well to take care of yourself.